Seems like everybody's moving over to battery stuff, and there's not as much gas stuff on the market. Case in point, Honda stopped making gas walk-behind mowers. Well, STIHL said, well, there's an opportunity for us. Let's sell a gas walk-behind mower. Did you know they made one? I had no idea. They just started selling these in the US. They say they've been selling them for about 12 years in Europe. Where in Europe? I don't know. I didn't ask that question. So we're going to test it out. I borrowed one of these from our STIHL distributor, and we're just going to put this thing through its paces. It has not been mowed out here for like 3 weeks. It's been raining biblical levels. I don't have my dad's shorts on. These are the worst conditions possible to be mowing in, but we're going to try to mow with this thing. All right, so we're going to do some tests with this mower. We are going to we're going to mow the front yard. The front yard just hasn't been mowed in a few weeks. It's wet out there. It's going to be a real stress test for any mower. We'll just mow it on the highest height. I'm not going to worry about getting a tight cut. I just want to see if this thing will mow without dying. I'm going to use it as a brush cutter. We're going to try to cut some brush with it, because people out here do that. You should be using your weed whacker to cut something. Well, you got your push mower, may as well use that instead. I'll mow on some hillsides, and I'm going to have the wife try it out. See if she can start the thing, see if she can operate the thing. She is a small lady. We'll see if she can operate it. First, let's get up close and personal with it. You know how this goes. We're going to look over the mower, see all the stuff on it, and then we're going to go we're going to do some terrible things with this mower. All right, here we go. Okay, so first and foremost, this thing is heavy. I think it weighs about 110 pounds. This is a big old metal deck. It is a heavy duty deck, which I like for out here because we have rocks, sticks, stumps, stones, whatever. We've got it out here, and it really beats up a walk-behind mower when you do use it, so that big metal deck's great. If you're trying to throw it in the back of your truck, kind of a pain in the neck, but it is what it is. Nice and heavy-duty deck, not made of plastic, made of metal. Engine's a Kohler engine. I love Kohler engines. Some people don't think they're that great, and I don't know why. I've never had a Kohler let me down. So that's some cool stuff on this. Now, they have this, they call this like a uni handle or something. It's adjustable, so you can like fold it up for storage, which is nice. That's really handy. And there's a couple different height levels for it, for different user heights, so that's neat. It raises a lot of eyebrows because people go, man, that thing's going to break off. Now, it's made of metal. Again, it's very heavy duty, and if we bounce on it, you would think that we'd get some bending here, you know, and you may over time, but it is very thick, heavy-duty metal, so we'll see. Time will tell on that one. The benefit of it is it's easy to get into the side here, so when you're taking your bagger and popping it on or taking it off, you're not fighting with your handles to do it. I guess it was kind of a good idea. I don't know what's wrong with just coming from behind the handlebars and pulling your bagger out, but STIHL does what STIHL does, so we'll just let them do what they do. Mulch kit on this one is a plug. It's okay to put in and take out. And the bagger, this is what's going to raise some eyebrows. This thing is plastic. There's no way around it. It is plastic and plastic and plastic. And it sounds like plastic, and it feels like plastic, and it looks like plastic because guess what? It's plastic. Nothing wrong with that, but it just seems like a weird choice. Everybody's used to metal frames with mesh bags, but again, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. There's a little thing on the top that pops up when you're full of grass. Taking it off's easy, and you can open the whole thing up to empty this bag if it's really clogged up full of stuff, so that's pretty neat. Changing your height, very easy, one-handed. It's a little pinchy in there to do it, but I mean, you can see how easy this thing moves up and down. Not bad. So that's kind of cool. And then the controls up here on the handlebar. Let's go and look at those. Okay, so first and foremost, how do you start this dang thing? Not too terrible. So you got to make sure this lever here is on the I. That's the universal sound for run. And then you just pull it. Whoops, maybe again. Pull this lever back. There we go. So you could run your RPMs down if you want. There's no reason to do that. RPMs up. That's your vario speed. That's how fast this thing moves forward. And then getting the blades going, this took me a sec to figure out. Rear handle forward, lever up. There we go. All right, let's go mow. Well, here we go with the first test, the hill mowing test. You know, sometimes you're not going to want to drive your riding mower up or down a hill. And this walk behind, it feels like it's glued to the hill. It just weighs so much. It's holding on fine, not spinning tires until you get high centered, which is going to happen. This thing's sitting, you know, an inch off the ground maybe. And that's where the weight kind of becomes an impediment, because you got to hulk that thing over the bump or whatever that you're getting high centered on. I think I was actually hitting some, yeah, I was hitting some rocks here. Yep, we got hung up there, but with a little bit of effort, there we go. Back down the hill. This probably isn't an ideal way to use a walk-behind mower, but that's the way they get used out here, man, where zero turns fear to tread. The walk-behind mower is used to mow hillsides. Now this is the stuff only an idiot would do, right? This is just true brush cutting, trying to force this mower through an impenetrable wall of blackberries and little alder mini saplings. I mean, only a fool would do this, right? I don't really know what I'm trying to accomplish here, but I just want to see if it would cut this stuff. I mean, you could certainly do it with a weed whacker, but you know, you already got the walk-behind mower out. May as well at least try to cut this stuff. And honestly, this thing does a pretty good job. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting into the thick of it. These Himalayan blackberries are crazy. They'll get about as thick around as your thumb in one season. Oh, look at that. That is a hungry mower. All right, so this is some more traditional mowing. Just mowing the front yard. The grass is very wet, very thick. You can kind of see in the lower left-hand corner of the screen there our sump pump pumping water out from under our cellar. So how's this thing mow? It's mowing fine. This is on the highest setting, a 7 out of 7. And it's cutting the grass. It did get clogged up on this grass, and I think it was already clogged up from brush cutting or whatever. I did empty the bagger before starting this, but about halfway through here, I just took off the bagger and gave up trying to bag. Didn't use the mulcher or anything. Just left the flap down on the back, and it cut the grass just fine. A couple things I really like on this thing. The vario drive, you can change the speed. It's not like set speed settings. It's not an infinite drive either, but there's multiple speed settings on it. But the blade clutch on this, you could release the blades, turn off the blades without cutting the engine, and you know, take the bagger off, get the dog out of the way, whatever you got to do. But the engine didn't shut off. But yep, lots of grass in there. Cleans out of the deck easy though. The deck was showing no damage from hitting rocks or anything. So I don't know, it mows just as good as our Honda did. Now of course it doesn't seem like I'm doing anything scientific here, but here's the scientific test I'm doing. And the dog's really not helping in this case. But this again kind of shows how nice it is to have that blade clutch. I think it's a must on a walk-behind mower. So I can stop, deal with the animal, get the mower going again. So what I'm doing here is bagging at the highest setting, a 7 out of 7. and then I'm going to make a return trip, seeing how low I can mow. The machine was bogging out at a 1. I found that at a 3 I could mow this grass, and this grass is tall. This is probably 6-inch tall grass, and that's a pretty clean strip there. Now here I'm mulching at a 7. Look at how tall that grass is. And this thing somehow is mulching. I do have the mulch plug in, so the grass can't go anywhere. And I don't know why I'm showing the bagger here, but whatever. Maybe we'll edit this later. Or I won't. Anyway, that's how much grass I got from just 2 strips of bagging, just like 2 40-foot strips. Anyway, back to the mulch here. I ran another strip. The lowest I could mulch on this last strip was at like a 5 out of 7.
Yeah, it ain't gonna mulch
I just kept killing this mower. I tried to mulch at a 3, wouldn't do it. Tried to mulch at a 4, wouldn't do it, kept dying. So I got it up to about a level 5. Nope. And then it would stay running while I tried to mulch. So, you know, any mower would struggle with this. And this was probably the thickest grass of it all. It's more weeds than grass there, but very, very thick stuff. So, yep, watch me struggle. It's real fun. But it mowed about half the strip. I think I got about 20, 25 feet before it just bogged down and died. And trying to mulch in conditions like this, it's stupid. Nobody would ever do this. And here we come. We are going to kill it.
All right, so this grass is pretty messed up. It is very thick, very wet, very unlawn-like, and trying to mulch it, it's not going to do it. So mulch at the highest level, a 7. It did cut the grass. Once we got down here, left the grass a little taller. It did start to mulch at a 5, but it just bogged down over time, which we expect. Now bagging at a 7, I don't see a bunch of grass clippings left behind. This is, I mean, just who would walk behind mow their grass like this? But it wouldn't mow at a 1, the lowest height, but it did mow at a 3. And you can tell the difference in the height here between a 7 and a 3. And it's mowing pretty tight to the ground and did an admirable job of picking up that grass. Okay, so what do I think of this thing? We'll start with the 2 elephants in the room. First of all, this bagger, this plastic bagger. It is plastic. I don't care what you call it, it's plastic. Now, nothing necessarily wrong with plastic. A lot of things are made of plastic, but everybody sees this and they go, whew, that's plastic. It's not terrible. I was surprised. Emptying grass out of it, not too bad. It's not the lightest thing in the world, but on the back you can lift it and just dump all the grass out. That's pretty cool. It's easy to clean. This might win me over time. Jury's still out, we'll see. The uni-handle or mono-handle or whatever they call this, I guess it's kind of cool. You still reach under the handle to put your bagger on though, so I don't really know what problem it's solving. It felt sturdy enough. It didn't feel like it was going to break. Putting the bagger back on, I'm still figuring it out. We'll just put it that way. I think it come in from above, and why can't I figure it out? There we go. For some reason, me and the bagger didn't get along too good. So, things I disliked about this machine. There wasn't too much that irritated me about it, really, which surprises me. I thought I'd be more irritated. I'll tell you something that was a negative as I was putting this mower away. This mulch plug, this plastic thing, you're going to need to buy extras of these. If you're not mulching, don't worry about it. Like we probably wouldn't mulch around here, I don't think. You know, we'd bag. That's just what we got to do because mulching is very difficult to do in wet grass. But this thing, I don't know, man. I just felt like it was gonna break on me every time I took it out of the mower. I wish the range select for your speed. I wish there was a little more range there. I wish it could go a little bit slower because at its slowest speed, it was fine. At its fastest speed, I think it'd be too fast to mow with unless you're just flat, straight ground. But it'd be nice if the slow was a little slower. With the wet grass, this thing did clog up like crazy. I guess that's just what happens with mowers in wet grass, but someday I'm gonna find that mower that doesn't clog up. Like if this thing had a side discharge, this thing would be perfect. Okay, so I wish it had a side discharge. That's a negative, it doesn't have it. I wish it did. And then, well, those are two things. I'll tell you the third thing is this thing is really stinking heavy, which is a negative, but it's also a positive, I guess. It's just, I don't know, man. I felt like I was really having to really bull moose this thing around to move it when I'm moving on hills and uneven terrain. You know, you really had to moose this thing. If this thing wasn't powered, I don't know how somebody would mow with it, to be honest with you. I guess if you have really nice, flat, even ground, it's not that big of a deal to push this thing, you know? But you know that 110 pounds is there, I'll say that. You know, you make a few of these corners over time, you start feeling it in your shoulders. Positives though, this thing's built like a tank because it's so heavy, right? I hit some rocks, hit some roots, hit all sorts of stuff. This deck seems pretty impervious to assault. It's thick and heavy duty, so that's great for a property like ours. The thing starts really easy. So I did have my wife try this thing out. She is half my size, pretty short. The handle, how this thing changes heights is like really easy to change. And so it was easy to change between her height and my height. There's 3 height settings. And it was easy to start. Like she one-pulled the thing. That never happens on something with a pull start for her. She was able to pull start it. That was amazing. The thing started easy. So yeah, different users. I think it's a great mower for households with different people using it of different strength and size levels. The deck is certainly heavy duty, and it mowed this place. I was really impressed by that. Most walk-behind mowers wouldn't be able to deal with this level of abuse. You know, I wouldn't call it abuse, but just heavy duty mowing. You'd be out there killing this thing all day long. So it did a great job on hills. It did a great job on a lot of stuff. Stuff that's kind of in between these airless tires, these hard tires, yeah, they're okay. I'd rather have tires with air in them. The tires would break or get holes in them, which is a trade-off, but I think it gives you a smoother walk-behind experience with a little air there, giving you some cush, but it's neither here nor there. And other than that, I mean, it was a good mower. I'm actually kind of impressed by it out here. You know, we have a Honda. It's been a great mower. Will these things live up to that Honda reputation? I don't know. And how much longer will gas mowers be on the market? I don't know. So this might be a good time to go out and buy a gas self-propelled mower because, you know, your state or the federal government or whoever might say, hey, no more selling those. So you got to get it while you can get it. That's my thoughts. STIHL self-propelled mower, the RM 655 VS. This is their like prosumer grade mower. A lot of bells and whistles on it. Check it out if you're a STIHL dealer, if you are so inclined. If you've enjoyed this content or some of my other content, it might be a good idea to seek the services of a mental health professional. But if you can't do that, you can go to my page here on YouTube and join the channel. You can be a bandwagon member. Why would you do that? I don't know, but maybe you want to. It costs you a couple bucks. There's going to be some other stuff I do, you know, on that members only area. Haven't quite worked out the details, and we'll figure it out as we go along. So if you want to check that out, you feel free.